Hi everyone, my name is Arielle Carraha. Welcome back to another episode of The Broker's Table, your digestible guide to New York City's real estate market. Today we're gonna have some wine and cheese to talk about your wants versus needs. So let's eat.
Oh, I've been eyeing this.
Joining us today again are my trusted colleagues, Josh, Alan, and Austin. So let's talk about, Austin, you've just gotten your pre-approval letter. What happens next? You want to find an apartment. Where do we go? Where do we look?
I'm really glad you asked, Arielle. We're gonna go right on over to triplemint.com. No, really, do I start online? Do I talk to you guys first? You tell me, what's my next step?
I think that in order for you to know what you're searching for, you should probably decide what you need in your home, so that way you can create the best search. I think sometimes not creating too much of a limited search would always work against you, but sometimes knowing what's important to you and what's not important to you, especially if it's you moving by yourself or if you and Alan are moving together, make sure you are both on the same page. There's nothing worse than when you have a client who you speak with one of them and then find out later after you go on the appointment that there was two people making the decision in this.
And I would definitely add, when you're thinking about a purchase, you want to think more long-term, whether it's 3 years or whether it's 7 years. With the rental, we think 1 to 2 years. So when you're looking at your wants and needs, definitely think into the future. If you might be having a kid soon, then you want to have maybe some extra space to have that kid located, whether it's an extra bedroom or just a bigger bedroom for yourself where you can put a crib.
So are you saying that if I don't plan on living somewhere for more than 3 years, that I shouldn't buy an apartment in New York City?
It totally depends on the market. A lot of times you're gonna be paying closing costs up front on the purchase side, and we see that if the market's not going up in a way that you might not break even if you sell within a year or two, that's pretty common. So I like to tell people 2 to 3 years at least you wanna stay in a purchase at a minimum. Usually they say 4 or 5 years.
So give me a sense of, if I'm looking for a $750,000 one bedroom in Manhattan, what can I expect from the inventory that's available in this market?
Before you get to all of the specifics with regard to the interior of the apartment, I think you also have to look at the structure of how you plan to purchase the apartment, because that has a lot to do with what you can and can't have. So if you, for some reason, feel like you can't go through board approval or pass a board interview or don't have enough for post-closing liquidity requirements of a co-op board, you're forced to be in a condo.
So it's simpler to buy in a condo?
It's much easier to buy in a condo, yes, but condos are also more expensive than co-ops. So it's really just sort of one or the other, And
going off that, she definitely means easier in terms of the approval process. Condos are a lot more lenient, whereas co-ops can be very strict and don't really have to give a reason why. For you and your search, just hearing what you're looking for, I think the first advice Arielle and I both agree on that we give all of our clients is take the emotion out of what you need and want, because I think the one thing that we think is we created this home in our head of what we want to have, but sometimes you have to understand that New York was created a long time ago. The inventory is already out there. So sometimes you have to be less emotional about the purchase and be more realistic about what you can have and what you might have to create.
Yeah.
And that's a conversation.
I think approaching the search, you should be as limitless as you can be. I think oftentimes people start with this hard and fast list of all the things that they want, and they go out there and quickly start to realize that they have to start, opening up the search a little bit more and making it a little bit more limitless, because you can't achieve everything that you want unless, you're like a billionaire in New York City, and even the billionaires can't even get everything that they want, so.
I think the 3 things to keep in mind when talking about wants and needs is focus address, then access, then amenities. So address being where is it located, what neighborhoods are you open to, which ones are you not. Access, like you were just mentioning, doorman, non-doorman, elevator, walk-ups. Things come at different prices. And then last, amenities, and not just being amenities for the building, but also amenities in the apartments. From everything amenities in the apartments being
Dishwashers.
Stainless steel appliances, dishwashers, to in the building having laundry or having a fitness room. Everything will cost, if they can charge you for it, it's New York City, they're gonna charge you for it.
So I always tell people, start very wide, look at location and type of building, and then look at your price point, see what you can afford. One thing that I also tell everybody is when you think towards the future, like we talked about earlier, you wanna think about if you're gonna be moving out of the apartment, what can you do with the apartment while still owning it? Right. There's differences with co-ops and condos versus if you can have a subletter in there easily or not. And I think that some people are forced to sell because they don't think long enough ahead of, hey, I want to hold this as an investment because New York's going up in price, but yet I have to sell because I'm not using it as a primary residence.
So how will I know when I need to be buying? Like how do I establish this timeline?
No, I would say when you're getting close to the last, I don't know, 7 or 6 months of your lease is probably when you should start talking to a mortgage banker, getting pre-approved and figuring out what you want to do, because the process itself, I'd say on the quick end, if you're financing, can take 3 or 3.5 months, and on the long end can take 6 months. I think that even with cash, the soonest I've ever seen it happen is in 30 days. But my assumption is that not everybody is using cash, right? So, yeah.
That's not my story or my journey.
Again, when it comes down to making sure you're set up for success, you have to be very, you want to be logical in this. You want to make sure that you speak with every party who's in the moving party. You speak to them about what you feel you need and what you feel you want, but being open to the fact that sometimes you don't know what you want until you see it. Because I think the one thing that we can all agree on is oftentimes when a client tells you their perfect apartment, how many times have we gone out and showed them an apartment that's the polar opposite of that?
Yeah.
And then they like, this is it. This is the one that I wanted. And you're like, this isn't the one you wanted, because from the rundown you gave me in the email, none of this hits it.
Right.
But I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, apartments will always surprise you, and I think that's why it's always really important to just be a little bit flexible in your criteria. I think that a lot of people, for the sake of having, something that's investment worthy in New York, a lot of people really want to steer towards condos in New York when they first start out, and they realize that their budget is just much more permitting within the lines of a co-op. And so that's also something that I wanted to touch on today, is sort of the misconception about co-ops and what the actual pros of co-ops are. So people just realize that they're actually better deals than they think. So what are the common misconceptions that you guys have heard about co-ops?
I don't know if it's a misconception, but they're impossible to get approved for.
Okay, we've heard it. We've also heard that co-ops are extremely strict when it comes to subletting policy. So you cannot let anyone in the apartment outside of the people who live there.
Yeah, we've heard that you have to put down 50% for a co-op, and that's definitely not true. Although some co-ops, depending on the building, that could be true, but it's definitely a minority.
So are there positive things about co-ops, things that we can have the audience, look forward to when they're, okay, go.
They're less expensive.
Yes, how less expensive?
20 to 25%. Wait, was that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
Good
guys,
job.
I should get licensed.
Additionally, you also have, it's a larger part of the market. Co-ops, make up more than 70% of the market here in New York City, where condos are less than that. So you think you have a lot more options when you open yourself up to a co-op. Also, more spacious.
Yeah.
We always find that space begets co-op, renovations begets condo, but if you can have space, you can build renovations. So why not beget both in a
Yeah.
co-op?
I like that you keep saying baguette. 'Cause
Yeah.
It sounds like baguette.
Which we don't have right
Which
now.
we don't have any baguettes.
Also, we can all say now that the most popular one was the peppered salami.
I know I still have
My mouth is actually on fire right now. So are there any cons to buying in a condo?
They're
That's
expensive.
So one of the cons, aside from the
job.
price,
Opposite of everything we just said.
Yes.
aside from the price, people will say you can have the possibility of a better community setting in a co-op.
Right.
So you will have potentially more renters because people will sublet out their condos very easily. You'll have absentee owners. Whereas a co-op, because people can only sublet a certain number of years out of 5, typically you'll have a lot more owners in residence, which is great for building the connection if you stay there for 10 to 20 years.
If you don't want to know your neighbors, buy in a condo.
Yes.
That's what I'm
You can
hearing.
afford it.
Yeah.
All right, so with all that being said, for all the viewers, what is just a quick tip from each of you on how to go on and get the shopping done?
I would say do not overestimate your wants or your needs. It's always better to start with a smaller list to open up your options.
Well, I've been on Triplemint.com looking at inventory. I do think it's actually important to find the right place to be looking for the inventory. There's pros and cons to every website, but what's cool about the website for the company we all work at is that there's the pre-market options on there too, which is pretty cool. We're able to see stuff that's not on the market as well as stuff that is, so we have a better understanding of like what's out there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Cool. What about you?
I think my biggest takeaway would be make sure that all parties are on the same page before moving too forward in the process. And I don't just mean in terms of like spouse, partners, children. I'm even talking with your broker. Like be extremely vocal to each other because we're here to help and we can only be an asset to each other if we are all on the same page. We cannot be an asset to each other if you are thinking one thing and I'm thinking another.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. Be as limitless as you can be. Don't put too much pressure on the laundry and the doorman unless you really, really, for some very specific reason, need it, not just because you want it. Great, so thank you so much for watching another episode of The Broker's Table. Looking forward to seeing you guys here on the next episode. If you have any questions, please make sure to leave them in the comments. And cheers, guys. Cheers to shopping.
Cheers to shopping! That was cheesy.